in the greenhouse, and today I'm going to be sowing the first of my broad beans. It's broad bean crimson flower, and I saw this a few years ago at one of the shows, and it had nice crimson flowers on there, and surprisingly for a broad bean there was a scent to it. Now, to sow these is one of the easiest things in the vegetable garden. Just pop your compost into a pot and then take your seed, and if you look at the seed you'll see there's a little eye. Well, that eye needs to be sown on the side. So pop the seed in on the side, push the soil back around, give it some water, and I'm going to keep these in the greenhouse and plant them out in about 4 or 5 weeks.
I've been meaning to do this all winter, but it's now the perfect time to do it, ahead of spring and ahead of those Easter cups of teas and cake. There we have it, as if by magic. If only it was that easy.
This month I'm sowing Twinny Apple Blossom. Now, to sow antirrhinums you can sow them between January and March, and this time I'm going to sow them in a different pot, in this flatter one. So let's get on with it. And if you remember, the seed of the antirrhinum is very small, so again it's best to open it over the area where you're going to sow them. And they're all at the bottom. There you go. So just sprinkle them over. You may not be able to see this on the camera. I can just about make out where they are. There's not a lot in this seed packet. Sometimes you have to open the seed packet all the way because the seed gets stuck down the seam where the packet is joined together. And because this is a small seed, I'm going to sieve some soil through another pot because I don't want it too thick. Give them a watering. Label them, and again I will put them on the windowsill, and if you've got a greenhouse, pop them under the propagator.
Vivi turned up on site this week, so I gave her a hand on attending to the allotment, ready for the spring ahead. Back on my own plot, I took some time out to clear the end of the plot. Now, in a few weeks' time, I'll be building my raised bed, and once I've done that, this side of the allotment is then finished. So I've already got my 2 raised beds in, and the third one will go in this space.
I planted the garlic just before Christmas and it's starting to come through the earth now. And what's just turned up is some other garlic of mine, which I'm going to plant, and it's elephant garlic. And the bulbs, look at them, they're huge. So I'm going to plant them today, and it's really simple. Don't squeeze them into the ground because you will destroy the base. That's where all the roots are. So let's just make a little hole with a trowel. Just pop them in like that. Now the distance, I'm just going to use the trowel to work out a suitable distance that I want them. And elephant garlic is a milder flavour of garlic, and it grows quite thick. It almost grows a bit like an onion. So let me have a look. Put another one there, and then for the next row, same thing again. Just going to put the trowel down and put a trowel's width apart. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got 6 left, so I'll do, there's 2 rows, and that'll be more than enough for me. forget to put a label. You've still got time to plant garlic, but I'd try and get it in before the start of March. Now, I've had a few emails asking about the raised beds. Where did I buy them? Well, I actually made them, and I've got 2 here, and I need to build a 3rd one, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. All I need to make the raised beds is a screwdriver, box of screws, and some angle brackets. Now, one thing that I did do which saved me time is I give the builder where I bought this wood the measurements of the raised bed, so when the wood turned up it was already cut, and that's something that I would recommend you to do, especially if you haven't got the facility to do it yourself. So let's put the first screw in. I put 2 brackets on each corner. If you have an electric screwdriver, obviously you'll do it a lot quicker, but I haven't got one, so now let's move on to the sides. So just make sure it's all the way up to the wood, and then screw it in, and we'll put the rest of the screws in later. And then I'll do the same on the other side. And then go around all the holes and fitting screws into them. So there we have it, that's another raised bed done. It's going to stay here for the time being until I get the land prepared next door, and then I'll move the raised bed over. Now, I've had this product for a while, and seeing as the sun is out, I thought I'd get the thing out and set it up for a few hours. It's a solar panelled fountain. So I'm going to put this on the pond, and it's very easy to do. Just connect all the bits up together. That's the solar panel there, and then it comes with a few different bits that you can have. So I've decided on this fountain one, and then this bit of polystyrene keeps the motor, which is under there, afloat in the water. So let's set it up and see what displays we get. Now, I've already put a spike in the ground where the solar panel will go, and all we need to do now, I'm just going to test it for the time being. I'll make it look all pretty in the summer, so because I'm not going to leave this in the pond now because it's still getting down to -2 of an evening, so I'll just put this in for a few hours and pull it out and see what happens. Oh, there we go. And obviously when the clouds come over, the fountain will go down, because you do need to have, as you can see there, direct sunlight.
A lot of birds are visiting the garden at the moment, so it's a case of topping up the bird table every other day. Last month I planted the garlic, and it's already up and putting on a great show. Next door to the garlic is the onions and shallots. In order to warm the soil up, I've put these window frames on top, and the plants are coming on beautifully. Once they start to get a bit taller, say when they're touching the glass, I'll then take the window frames off. There's certainly a feeling in the garden that spring is just around the corner. Everything is now starting to come into bud. These are the gooseberries, and this is some broom. They'll put on a fantastic show of colour. And the tulips are up. And in general, things are starting to burst into bud and ready for spring.
The tomato that I'm sowing today is a cherry tomato. The variety is called Sun Cherry Premium, and that's what I'm sowing today. Now these tomatoes you can sow between February to April, and because there are F1s you only get a few, so I've got 6 in this one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to just pull the packet apart here. There's one right down the bottom. There we go. And if they're a bit too close together, just go over with a spoon and just push them apart. And then cover with a little compost, a little bit of water, pop a label on them, and then either put them on the windowsill or put them under a propagator cover. A tip that somebody gave me a few years ago was from Mr. Ken Nutt. He was a fuchsia grower, loved his fuchsias, and in the winter he would put one of the shelves closer to the roof, because that is the warmest point in the greenhouse, and it aided germination and cuttings of his fuchsias. Now, sadly, Ken died a few years ago, but in the months leading up to his death, I did get the opportunity to interview him about his fuchsias.
Getting early cuttings January, February time, I grow mine in a polythene bag in a plant dish, like this. That's where the warmth is up in the top of the greenhouse at that time of the year. So 3 to 4 weeks and I've got some cuttings.
You've never tasted potatoes until you've grown your own. Now, we won't be planting these till next month, but the preparation for potatoes starts in February. And what we need to do is something called chitting, which means that we need to grow these little sprouts on the potatoes, and from there will be our potato plant. Now, in olden days, when money was tight, people used to chop them in half, but these days we don't tend to do that. So in order to chit them, you just get an egg box and you just rest the potatoes in there. Now we're using an egg box just because the potatoes don't fall over. So you just place them in, and if you have a look at the potatoes, you will see where what they call the eyes of the potatoes are there, and put them so that they're facing upwards, because if you put them down, the shoots will start to bend and they'll be not as good as the rest of the potatoes. So just continue to do that, and then put them in a frost-free environment, either the greenhouse, the shed, or the garage, or in the kitchen or spare bedroom, whatever. And we're going to leave them there, and then in about 4 weeks time we'll come back and there'll be nice dumpy shoots. You need them to create short fat shoots. If you put them in an environment where there's not a lot of light, you'll find that you'll have spindly roots and they won't really do much. So then, Vivi, first visit of this year?
It's been a while, so I'm going to try and find some parsnips. I might start that end actually.
How's it grown this side?
Oh, it's horrible. Well, we'll see even better in a minute, won't we? See, these will be no good because I think the soil's actually washed away.
At least it'll be clean. They'll come up washed.
Ah, no good. Absolute rubbish. But that's absolutely useless. They just have to be tasty. Oh, I heard a... Oh!
Just save that one then.
Look at that! Well, herein lies the lesson. Where my rows were here, and I've had lovely long, well not really long, maybe 10 inches but of a good girth, and then I put all my little transplantings in this end, and it just shows, doesn't it, they're rubbish. So you have to sow where you want to grow.
Save the best till last.
That'd be nice.
Oh, look at that one. That's a prize winner.
It's alright, isn't it? Like I said, I'm not looking for beauty, I'm looking for taste, because like I said, with going in soup, they're going to get all chopped off anyway, so... Oh, look at the soil though, Sean, it's horrid.
Well, it's certainly a windy day. Jeff is down here. He's doing some digging in of his green manure. I'll be doing mine next week. Rusty's had his food. Last night we had the biggest storm I've ever known go through the plot. I looked out the window and the trees were bending like twigs. So I've come down to look at how my greenhouse is fed. Hopefully better than this one. Let's go and have a look. Well, this has really surprised me because the wind, it was howling. I looked out of the window about midnight and the trees were bending as if they were like branches. But the greenhouse seems fine and the shed seems fine and my allotment seems fine. The cold frame outside, it's as if nothing's happened. It's also nice and still as well. Rusty's here, looking for some food. But one of the jobs that I have to do today is move some compost bags. I had some bags of compost delivered the other day, but because the weather was so bad, they got delivered to a friend's house, so I need to transport them from there to my plot. Last year I grew globe artichokes and they were very good at attracting bees into the garden. There was many minutes I spent just watching them fly in with nectar all over their legs and flying out again. They were here for weeks. Well, if you want to grow some globe artichokes, now is the time to do it, and I'm sowing the variety Green Globe. Good thing about doing globe artichokes is the fact that you can eat them or leave them to flower, and then they're good enough for the bees. The bees absolutely adore them, and they'll stay in the garden for about 5 years before you need to change the plants over. That's the seed of the globe artichoke. Looks a bit like a sunflower. So it's one seed per station, because these are quite a robust seedling, and it will quickly fill this little space. Just cover them with soil. It's a nice day for doing this. Nice and sunny, birds are singing. You can sow your globe artichokes in February or March. And I'll keep these in the greenhouse, and then when the threat of frost has passed, I'll then put them outside. Then just give them a brief watering. Nothing too much at this time of year. You don't want them to drown. And there we go. I'll pop them in the greenhouse. Graham's helping out there by carrying a few bags over to the plot.
And this is boring. This one started.
So then, Vivi, what you up to today?
I'm just rescuing the last of my beetroot.
There's a nice crop there.
Actually, I've got masses still. I did a big second sowing, and I just couldn't keep up with eating them. So some of them are tiddlers I'm not going to worry about, but I've got loads that are, you know, a nice size. So basically, if you follow the link on the Hort channel, you'll see the recipe for borscht. I'm going to be making lots of beetroot soup. The tops, if you get them really young, you can use the tops like you would spinach or any other leafy thing. But these they're probably going to be a bit tough, a bit woody. But because I'm going to basically boil them for soup, it's not going to matter. Like if you wanted to pickle them, I would say no, because they'll be a bit tough and woody. But for making soup, absolutely no problem. Or if you want to just juice them, if you're into your beetroot juice, again, fine. You just want it, because they'll be really, like I say, tough and fibrous. Juice will break it down, as will soup. And I've just rescued some of my little cabbage hearts, but look, some of them are nice size. Look at those cricket balls.
Last autumn, Jeff planted some green manure. This is just seed that you throw on the ground and let it to grow. And then a few weeks before you want to use the ground, you just cut the tops off. And then in a week's time, Jeff will come back and he will dig the soil, turn in all this material into the soil. In a few weeks, I'm getting a brand new greenhouse. But it's slightly larger than the one that I've got, so I just need to turn the shed around to make some more space.
I'm going to get rid of the pond, and over by the patio, that's where the pond's going to go then. So when I'm over here and I'm sat on the bench, you've got all the relaxation activities in one place.
Onions. I'm going to open them. So all you want to do is just lay them out. Just have a quick look at them. If there's any that look a bit manky, it's got a bit of mould on the side there, but it's firm enough. I'll keep that one in there. And when you come to plant these, which I will do in a few weeks once the soil's warmed up, I was looking at the forecast the other day and they said there was a possibility of frost, so I covered them with some fleece. So when I come down, I just have a quick look at them, make sure they're okay. And before I leave today, I'll put that back on top just to give them a bit more added protection. I've noticed that my rhubarb is starting to put on some growth, and if you want to force the rhubarb to get an early crop, just put an old bin or something over the top of the crowns, just like that, and just to exclude as much light as possible. And then in a few weeks you'll have beautiful stalks for the rhubarb pie. But I'm not going to do that because I forced these last year, and you don't want to force a crown more than once every 2 or 3 years. So this year I will just let this come to its natural harvest. All of a sudden the sun has just suddenly come out and it's getting quite warm, to be honest. That's a quick update on how my garlic is doing. Purple white on the left and elephant garlic on the right. I think it's going to be a good year for garlic. I'm going to plant some shallots. Now if you're a bit north of me, I'm in the south of the United Kingdom. If you're in the north, I'd wait another fortnight, 3 weeks. Now like I said before, when you put them in, don't push them in because it'll damage the bottoms. Just work out about 6 inches apart, pop them in and just firm the soil around them, just making sure that the top is showing. So 6 inches apart each way. And you might want to throw a net over the top just to protect them, because the birds do think these are worms and will come along and try to pick them out. so you may spend a few days putting them back in.
That's an impressive bit of steam. There you go. What time is the train going?
Yeah, I don't know. It should be an engine, shouldn't it? Proper gas, you'll notice here. Don't go for these butane-filled things, they won't work in this weather.
Hello, what you up to?
What you after?
You're, well, I've come on this ground because I haven't bought enough broad bean seed because I really love them, and I didn't realise I'm only going to get 40 seeds out of my packet, and even if they all germinate, 40 plants, that's not enough for my greedy guts.
Well,
so.
it just so happens that I have a pot just waiting there. Well, I've got some of these if you want to pop them in.
What are they?
Bunyard's Exhibition. You can put these in the autumn and you can put them in during the spring.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's have a look. Bunyards.
Bunyard's Exhibition.
So did you save these from last year?
No, these were sent in by a viewer.
Oh, okay.
The ones I'm going to do this year are... Now, how would you say that? Let me just show you first. Oh, it's a bit dark there. How would you say that?
Garmadzin.
Yeah.
Garmadzin.
It's a...
I nearly did a swear word in Russian there. I only know swear words in Russian.
It is a heritage seed, which the seeds are pink, and I grew these last year, which they're
these are
good.
the ones I scoffed raw.
Yes.
Now, is it Hungarian? I was saying Russian words, but I think, is it Hungarian?
I'm not sure. I'm putting the cold frame back together because I'll be needing it in a few weeks when all these seedlings need to be put into bigger pots. And these stones are for Vivi. Graham and I went and fetched them the other day, and they're really heavy. It takes two just to carry one, and this is the base for her new shed. Fairly nice day today. The cold frame is now starting to get a bit busy. I'm just waiting to take delivery of my soil, and when that turns up I'll be able to start doing the no-dig method. I've got loads of cardboard in the greenhouse just waiting. The wind has been so wild the last few days that the elderflower has snapped off, completely fallen down. It was there, a rather tall thing, but the entire top section has just snapped off. Well, I'm going to harvest a cabbage for my dinner. Nice firm heart there. I'm using a secateurs. I'm just going down and giving it a chop. And there you go. Now, some of the old gardeners then put a cross section here, so, and then you get a few more leaves coming up from there, but I'm more than happy with that. So today I've just come down today because I want to make some notes on things that I've already sown and some things that I'm going to sow over the coming few weeks. Now, I know a few of you will be asking how much was the ton of compost. Well, this is London, so it's London prices. It's £45 a ton plus £10 delivery. So I'm getting, what did I say? 4 tons. So I'm getting 4 tons to go down there, and hopefully that'll be enough. So, right, it's a bit too noisy to film at the moment, so I'll catch up with you next time.